I never imagined this would happen. Not to me. Not to us. Emily and I, well, we were inseparable. High school sweethearts. The kind of love people write about in books. Or at least, I thought it was. Lately, though, things had changed. I'd been so wrapped up in work, trying to build something for us, that I didn't notice the small things slipping away. At first, it was just a feeling. Emily wasn't the same. She was distant, her smile seemed forced, and she always had her phone on her. It wasn't like her. We'd always been open, so why was she suddenly so secretive? "Are you okay?" I asked one night, watching her stare blankly at the screen of her phone while we ate dinner. She glanced up quickly, her expression tight. "Yeah, I'm fine. Just tired, that's all." But I could tell something was off. I had no idea that night would be the start of the unraveling. The next few days felt like they were dragging on forever. Emily became more withdrawn, more distracted. I tried to talk to her about it, but she brushed me off each time. "You're just overthinking things," she'd say, flashing a forced smile. But her eyes, they didn't match her words. There was something dark behind them. I felt like I was losing her, but I couldn't figure out why. Then, last Tuesday, it happened. I came home early from work, hoping to surprise her. I expected to find her at the kitchen table, maybe with a glass of wine, but instead, I found her in the living room, her phone in her hand, whispering into it. I didn't mean to eavesdrop, but the moment I heard her say, "Yeah, Ryan, I miss you too," my heart dropped. Ryan. The name hit me like a ton of bricks. I stood frozen in the doorway, my breath caught in my chest. My mind raced, trying to piece it together. Who was Ryan? Why was she whispering to him? Her tone, so soft, so intimate, it wasn't just a friend.
I tried to play it cool. "Emily," I called, my voice tight. I didn't want to show how much it hurt, but I knew I couldn't hide it. "Not anymore." She turned quickly, face paling. "Aiden, what are you doing home?" I swallowed hard, trying to keep my voice steady. "Who's Ryan?" She froze, eyes wide, and for a split second, I saw the guilt flash across her face. She opened her mouth, but the words didn't come out. I waited, my pulse thudded in my ears, and I could feel the betrayal creeping up my spine like ice. Finally, she sighed, rubbing her temples. "I didn't mean for this to happen, Aiden." I stood there, my hands clenched into fists. "What didn't you mean to happen, Emily? What are you hiding from me?" Her voice cracked as she finally spoke. I've been seeing someone else, Ryan, for the past few months." The words felt like a slap. I staggered back, as if her confession physically knocked the wind out of me. "How long?" I whispered, the betrayal sinking deep. "I'm sorry," she said, her voice trembling. "I didn't want to hurt you, Aiden, but I've been feeling disconnected. And then Ryan came along and things just happened. I never meant for it to go this far." The room spun. "You didn't mean to hurt me?" I repeated, each word tasting bitter on my tongue. "You've been lying to me for months, Emily. You've been hiding this. How is that not hurting me?" She stepped forward, reaching out, but I pulled away. "Don't touch me." Her face crumbled. "I never wanted to lose you, Aiden. I thought I could make it work." "But you thought you could make it work," I snapped, my voice rising. "By lying to me? By hiding this from me?" I could feel the tears burning behind my eyes, but I refused to let them fall. Not in front of her, not after everything she'd done. "I don't know what to say," Emily whispered, shaking her head, her eyes filled with regret. "I never wanted it to be like this. I'm so sorry." The apology felt empty, hollow. I turned away, my stomach in knots. I couldn't even look at her anymore. "I think you should leave," I said, my voice low but steady. The words tasted sour in my mouth, but they were true. She had to go. "Aiden," she pleaded, taking a step toward me. "Just go, Emily. I don't know who you are anymore." She stood there for a moment, her face contorted with emotion, before she nodded and walked out of the room. I didn't hear the door shut behind her. I just stood there, the weight of her betrayal pressing down on me. For the first time in a long while, I felt completely, utterly alone. Couldn't sleep, couldn't think. All I could do was replay the conversation with Emily over and over again in my head. Her words echoed in my mind like a broken record. "I've been seeing someone else, Ryan." The sting of her betrayal was still fresh, still raw. I kept telling myself it was just a bad dream, that I'd wake up and everything would be fine. But the truth was there, heavy and suffocating. It wasn't a dream. How could she do this to me? To us? I found myself pacing the living room, my hands running through my hair as if I could somehow pull the pain out of my head. I thought of all the times we'd spent together, the late-night talks, the laughter, the promises. How had it all turned into this? How had she turned into someone I didn't even recognize? I kept thinking back to the little things. The way she'd been distant these last few weeks. The way she kept her phone hidden. The way her eyes would dart away when I asked her about anything. How long had she been planning this? The thought made my stomach churn. I had given her my trust, my love, and she had shattered it in a moment. Just like that. I didn't want to hurt you, Aiden. But she had, and it was a wound I didn't know how to heal. I couldn't focus on anything. I tried to work, but the words on my screen blurred together. I tried to watch TV, but nothing registered. All I could feel was the weight of her betrayal, pressing down on my chest, making it hard to breathe. I was consumed by it. I needed control. I needed something to take the edge off this pain. That's when it hit me. If I couldn't have Emily, then no one else could. I hated myself for thinking it, but the idea grew stronger, more tempting with each passing minute. I needed to make her feel what I felt. I couldn't just let her go on with her life, happy with Ryan while I was left here to pick up the pieces. I grabbed my phone, staring at her contact. The temptation to call her, to confront her again, was almost overwhelming. But I stopped myself. This was about more than just talking. This was about taking back control. I typed a message, but deleted it almost immediately. What would it even say? I'm going to ruin you? I shook my head. No, I didn't need to say anything. She knew what she'd done. I went through my contacts, looking for Ryan's name. I didn't even know why, just to see what he was up to, maybe, just to feel like I had a hand in all of this. My fingers hovered over the screen for a long time, but I couldn't bring myself to do it. Calling him wouldn't change anything. The real damage had already been done. I slumped back on the couch, closing my eyes, feeling the anger and heartbreak seep through my every pore. Why had I let myself fall so deeply for her? Why had I trusted her with everything? I thought about the things she'd said, how she claimed Ryan made her feel alive, how she'd been disconnected from me. Was I just a placeholder for her? Someone to pass the time with until someone better came along? Couldn't believe it, but I had no choice but to face the fact that she was gone, and it was her fault. I should have known, I muttered to myself, bitterness rising in my throat. I should have seen it coming. But no, I hadn't, because I was too damn trusting. I had believed in the version of her that I had created in my head, the version of her that loved me the way I loved her. I had ignored all the warning signs, all the red flags. It was too late now. I was left here, a broken mess, with nothing but my anger to keep me company. And that anger, that burning need for revenge, was only growing stronger. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I knew I had to make her regret it. I had to take back the power she had stolen from me. She was going to pay. I didn't know what I was turning into, but I didn't care. I woke up with a heaviness in my chest. I hadn't slept well. Every time I closed my eyes, all I could see was Emily, her face twisted in guilt, her words cutting through me like a blade. I've been seeing someone else, Aiden. It wasn't just the betrayal that hurt. It was the ease with which she said it, as if she hadn't just ripped my heart out, as if I didn't matter. I sat up in bed, staring blankly at the wall. What now? What was I supposed to do? I couldn't just let it go. Could I? Could I really just forgive her and let her back into my life after everything she'd done? I ran a hand through my hair, my mind spinning. The pain was still fresh, still raw. But as much as I wanted to tear her apart for what she'd done, something inside me kept pulling me back. Something told me I should be the better person, that I should forgive her, move on, and forget about it. But how could I? She had chosen him, not me. She had betrayed me, and now she was asking for forgiveness? I picked up my phone, unlocking it without even thinking. There it was, her name, the message she sent earlier that morning. Aiden, I know I've hurt you, but I can't lose you. Please let me fix this. I still love you. Can we talk? I read it again. The words felt hollow. I still love you. How could she say that after everything? I tossed the phone aside. My hands trembled. I wanted to scream, to lash out, but I held myself back. She didn't deserve my anger. She deserved to feel the pain she'd caused me. I paced the room, trying to push back the thoughts flooding my mind. Forgiveness, revenge. Could I really let her back into my life after all this? Could I be that weak? A knock on the door interrupted my thoughts. Hey, Aiden, Zara's voice called from the other side. You good? I rubbed my face. Zara had been my friend since high school. She was the one person who had stuck around when everything fell apart. I opened the door, letting her in. She looked at me, her eyes full of concern. Still thinking about her? She asked, sitting down on the edge of my bed. I don't know what to do, I admitted, dropping onto the bed beside her. She sent me a message this morning. She wants me back. She says she loves me. But how can I believe that now? Zara looked at me, her expression softening. Aiden, I know you loved her, but look at what she did. She betrayed you. Do you really want to go back to that? I shook my head, frustrated. I don't know. Part of me wants to forgive her, but the other part of me wants to make her feel the same pain she made me feel. I want her to regret it, regret everything. I want her to know what it feels like to be left behind. Zara didn't say anything for a long moment, just letting the silence fill the room. Then, she spoke, her voice calm but firm. Aiden, I get it, I really do, but you can't heal by hurting her. You need to decide what's best for you. If you keep letting her control your emotions, you'll never get over this. You'll just keep spiraling. Her words hit harder than I expected. So what do I do, Zara? Just let her walk away from all this without consequences. Zara sighed. She's already suffering, Aiden. You don't have to punish her to get closure. You don't have to let her back in. But you also don't have to keep living in this anger. It's eating you alive. I stood up, walking to the window and looking out at the city below. I hated how true her words were. I couldn't let this consume me. I couldn't keep letting Emily have this power over me. But the idea of letting her walk away without feeling the consequences gnawed at me. I couldn't forgive her. Not yet. Not after everything. She had hurt me in a way I never imagined possible. I had to make her see that. I'm not ready to forgive her, I said finally, my voice cold. But I'm not going to let her think she can just come back into my life after everything. Zara didn't say anything, but I could see the understanding in her eyes. She knew I was far from okay, but this was my decision to make. As the day went on, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was making a mistake, but the idea of revenge, of making Emily regret what she'd done, was too tempting to ignore. I had to do something. I had to take back control of my life, and if that meant destroying her in the process, so be it. I thought I had it all figured out. I had decided I wasn't going to forgive Emily, not just yet, but I wasn't ready to completely let go either. Couldn't. So I did the next best thing. I started taking control of the situation. I didn't need to see her to hurt her. I just needed to make sure she knew what she'd lost. I had already started scheming, setting things in motion, even if I didn't know exactly what the endgame would be. I had to keep moving forward. No more second-guessing myself. No more questioning whether I was doing the right thing. I was done being the victim. But then, something unexpected happened. It was late, and I had just finished a round of emails when my phone buzzed on the table. I picked it up without thinking, expecting it to be some random notification. But it wasn't. Hey Aiden, Zara, I need to talk. I sighed. Zara was probably the only person who still believed in me, the only one who hadn't completely written me off. But, as usual, she was too good at seeing through me. She knew what was happening. Even when I pretended like everything was fine, I knew what this conversation was going to be. I didn't need her to tell me again that I was losing myself, that I was going down the wrong path. Still, I called her back. Aiden, I'm worried about you, Zara said as soon as I picked up. You've been talking about Emily so much lately. I can see what you're doing and it's not healthy. You're better than this. I ran a hand through my hair, trying to keep my voice steady. I'm fine, Zara. I know what I'm doing. I cut myself off, not sure how to explain. I need to make her feel something. I can't just let her walk away from this by hurting her. Zara shot back, her voice full of concern. Aiden, listen to yourself. You're angry and I get it, but this obsession with making her regret it is not the answer. You're letting her control you. Her words hit me harder than I expected. I opened my mouth to argue, but nothing came out. Was she right? Was I letting her control me even after everything she'd done? Look, I'm not saying you should forgive her, Zara continued, but you're just as lost in this as she is. If you keep chasing this revenge, you're going to lose more than just Emily. I swallowed, feeling my chest tighten. I'm not losing anything. She's the one who... I know, Zara interrupted, her voice softer now, but you're already losing yourself. I don't want to watch that happen. I wanted to argue, to say she didn't understand, but instead, I just sat there in silence, staring at the blank screen of my phone. The truth was, Zara was right. I was letting the anger control me. It was consuming me just like everything else. And for the first time, I wasn't sure what the point of all of it was. Was revenge really going to make me feel better? Was it going to fix the hole in my chest? I didn't have the answers, but something inside me was starting to shift. I'm not sure what to do anymore, I admitted, my voice quiet. I don't want to keep feeling like this, but I don't know how to stop. Zara was quiet for a moment before she spoke. You don't have to do this alone. If you need help, I'm here. But you have to let go of this anger, Aiden. You can't keep carrying it with you. I rubbed my face, a wave of exhaustion washing over me. I don't know if I can. Zara's voice softened, her words gentle. Then don't. Just take a step back. You don't have to fix everything right now. Just breathe. I didn't say anything, but I knew she was right. I had to breathe. I had to stop letting Emily's betrayal rule my life. As I hung up, I felt a strange sense of calm. Not peace, but calm. Like I was on the edge of something I couldn't yet see, but something that might actually lead to the end of this. But there was still a long road ahead of me, and the storm I was about to unleash was far from over. The days after my conversation with Zara felt empty. I couldn't shake the feeling that I was missing something, that I had no idea what I was really doing. But one thing was clear. I couldn't stay in this place forever. I couldn't keep being angry at Emily, waiting for her to feel sorry for what she'd done. But the idea of moving on felt impossible. Then, out of nowhere, something shifted. Something in Emily's life started to fall apart. It was a Friday evening when I first heard about it. I was sitting on the couch, scrolling through my phone, when I got a text from one of our old mutual friends, Jake. The message was short but hit me like a slap. Did you hear? Emily got fired today. No one knows why, but rumors are flying. I read the message twice, trying to make sense of it. Emily, fired? The thought didn't quite make sense. She had always been so careful, so put together. How could she let everything slip like this? I stared at the message for a long time, my heart pounding in my chest. Felt almost like karma. She'd betrayed me, and now it was her turn to face the consequences. Part of me wanted to feel bad for her, but most of me just felt satisfaction. She wasn't untouchable anymore. I couldn't stop myself from replying, even though I knew it was petty. Do you know anything else? Jake's response was quick. She's a mess. Heard her manager talking about her leaving early today. Something about not being able to concentrate lately. I put my phone down, the weight of it all sinking in. Emily was losing control. I didn't know how much of it had to do with me, but the thought of her struggling, of her being in pain, made something inside me twist. Felt too easy. I kept thinking about her message, the one she'd sent me. I still love you. Can we talk? I didn't know what she expected me to do with those words. I didn't want to believe she still loved me. How could she, after everything? But as much as I told myself I didn't care, I couldn't stop the constant replay of memories, of all the good times we'd had, the laughter, the plans, the promise we had made. And now, I had to watch her face the consequences of what she'd done. Felt right, but at the same time something gnawed at me. By the time Saturday afternoon rolled around, I was still thinking about Emily's downfall. Her job was just the beginning, I realized. It was only a matter of time before everything else started to fall apart for her. But there was a part of me that didn't want to wait. A part of me that wanted to act, to do something. I was too far gone now, too deep in this need for revenge. My phone buzzed again, interrupting my thoughts. This time it was from Emily. Aiden, please, I don't know what happened. I messed up.
I'm sorry.
Can we meet and talk about this? I stared at the screen for a long time, my fingers hovering over the keyboard. She wanted to talk? After everything? After Ryan? I could almost hear her voice, desperate, pleading. She wanted me back, but I didn't know what I wanted anymore. Did I want closure? Or did I want to make her feel the same way she'd made me feel? It was tempting, so tempting. I leaned back in my chair, my heart racing. I could feel it, the power to finally make her feel what she'd made me feel. But as I sat there, I thought about what Zara had said, about letting go. But letting go seemed impossible. I clicked on Emily's message, typing back with hands that shook slightly. I don't know if I can forgive you, Emily. I'm not sure I want to. I hit send, the words hanging in the air between us. I didn't want to be cruel, but I didn't want to be weak either. I wasn't the victim anymore. I was the one in control, and I wasn't sure where this path would take me. But I wasn't turning back. It wasn't until a week later that I realized just how much of a mess Emily's life had become. It was almost surreal watching everything unravel in real time. Every time I checked in with people who still spoke to her, there was something new. Her reputation was slipping, her work life was a disaster, and she was losing the confidence that once made her so untouchable. But here I was, sitting in my apartment, just staring at my phone. I kept waiting for her to reach out again, to beg for forgiveness, to try to fix everything she had broken. I knew she would. She always had that way about her, turning on the charm when things got too messy. But now it felt different. The power for once was in my hands, and it felt cold. Her latest message had been long, pleading, and full of regret. Aiden, I never meant for this to happen. You don't know how much I've been struggling with this. Can we meet? Please, I want to fix this. I read it once, twice. The words still didn't make sense. How could she ask me to fix her mess? She was the one who had broken everything. I wasn't her fixer. I wasn't the guy she could run to when things fell apart. I wanted to feel sympathy. I tried to feel sympathy, but every time I thought about forgiving her, every time I thought about moving on, I remembered the betrayal. I remembered the nights I spent wondering where she was, what she was doing, who she was with. I wanted her to feel what I felt, to understand the weight of losing someone you loved, to understand that it wasn't just a mistake. It was a choice. She chose to betray me, and now the world was making her pay. I walked into the kitchen, grabbing a bottle of water, and started pacing again. I wasn't ready to forgive her, but I wasn't sure I wanted revenge anymore either. I kept telling myself that I had to make her understand, that I had to make her regret it, but the more I thought about it, the more hollow that feeling seemed. I was changing. I picked up my phone again, and I thought about reaching out, thought about telling her to leave me alone, to stop trying to fix things that couldn't be fixed. But then, my phone buzzed with another message. This time, it wasn't from Emily. It was from Jake. Is she okay? I texted back even though I didn't care. Not really. I just needed to know the whole story. Jake's reply came quick. She's not okay. Honestly, it's like she's falling apart. I put my phone down and leaned back against the counter. I could have felt happy about it. Could have felt like I'd won. But I didn't. I just felt empty. I hated it. I hated that this had become about me watching her struggle. I hated that I had become the person who took pleasure in her misery. This wasn't who I was. I thought about everything I had lost, the love we shared, the plans we made, the hope that maybe one day things would work out between us. But now, I had to accept that it was never going to happen. She wasn't coming back, and I wasn't going to wait for her to fall to feel better about myself. I took a deep breath, feeling the weight of everything hit me. I needed to make a choice. I could keep going down this path, letting everything destroy me, or I could take control of my life again, without letting her or the past dictate my future. I picked up my phone and typed a message to Emily. I don't hate you, Emily, but I can't keep doing this. I'm moving on, and you need to do the same. I hesitated before sending it, but then I hit send. It was done. I had finally made the choice. Her downfall wasn't mine to watch anymore. I wasn't going to be her punishment. I wasn't going to waste my life waiting for her to fall so I could feel something again. I was going to live, and I wasn't going to be defined by her mistakes anymore. I woke up to silence. No buzzing phones. No messages from Emily. No reminders of the past. It was strange how quickly everything had shifted. But as I sat there on the edge of my bed, I realized something. This was it. This was the moment I had been waiting for, the moment where everything would either break or come together. And for once, it didn't feel like I was losing. The phone buzzed on the nightstand, breaking the silence. I grabbed it, half expecting it to be Emily again. But it wasn't. Zara, are you okay? She asked, her message simple, but it hit harder than anything else. You haven't responded to me in days. I stared at the message for a moment, thinking about how far I had come since the day I found out about Emily. I'd gone from a heartbroken fool to someone who finally saw the world for what it was. Something I couldn't control, but something I could live with, on my terms. I texted back quickly. I'm fine. I'm not angry anymore. Zara's response was immediate. That's good, Aiden. I'm proud of you. I leaned back in my bed, exhaling deeply. I'm not angry anymore. I wasn't sure when it happened. Maybe it was when I sent Emily that last message, or maybe it was when I let myself stop obsessing over her. But whatever it was, I knew one thing for sure. I was done. The anger that had controlled me for so long started to feel small, like something that belonged to a different version of myself. A version that needed to hold onto the past because it didn't know how to move on. And I didn't need that anymore. I stood up, stretching my arms over my head, looking out the window. The sun was out and the sky was clear. Felt like everything was falling into place. I didn't need to keep holding on to what had happened. I didn't need to make her regret anything. A message popped up on my phone. This time it was from Emily. Aiden, I've been trying to get in touch with you. I know you're angry. I know I've hurt you. Please, can we meet? I need to explain myself. I read it, but for some reason, it didn't hit me like it used to. I wasn't angry. I wasn't even sad. There was just nothing. I didn't care about fixing things with her anymore. I had moved on, and I knew that was what mattered most. I sat down on the couch, tapping out a quick reply. You've already explained everything, Emily, but this is over. It's time for both of us to move on. I hesitated before sending it, but this time I wasn't afraid. There was no guilt, no regret, just a sense of peace that I hadn't felt in months. I hit send, and just like that, it was over. The phone buzzed again, but this time, I didn't look at it. I knew what she'd say. She would try to apologize, try to explain again, but I didn't need to hear it. I had made my choice. I didn't need her anymore. I didn't need anyone's approval. Feeling the weight of the past finally lift off my shoulders. I had spent so much time waiting for her to come back, waiting for the world to make sense again. But now, I realized, it had already made sense. I wasn't broken. I wasn't lost. I was just, and that was enough. I grabbed my jacket, walked out the door, and into the sunlight. The world was waiting for me, and for the first time in a long time I was ready to live. I had spent so much time obsessing over Emily, wondering how everything went wrong, wishing for things to go back to how they were. But in the end, I learned something important. The only person who had the power to change my life was me. It was 2 weeks later when I finally felt like I could breathe again. No more late-night texts. No more obsessing over what Emily was doing or what she was thinking. The chaos of the last few months had settled, and I found a strange sense of peace. I was no longer tied to the past. I was free. I was walking through the park one afternoon when my phone buzzed. It was a message from Emily. Aiden, I know you're angry at me, but I need to tell you something. I've been thinking about what we had, and I'm truly sorry. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I want you to know that I've changed. I understand now what I lost. I stopped walking for a moment, staring at the screen. Part of me expected to feel something, to feel the old anger or sadness rising up again. But there was nothing, just a dull, empty ache that seemed so far away now. I didn't even feel like responding. Emily was still the same. Someone who wanted to fix everything. Someone who couldn't accept the fact that she'd lost me. But this time, I knew that I didn't need her apology. I didn't need anything from her. I put my phone back in my pocket and kept walking. I had already made my decision. The closure I needed wasn't going to come from her. It was going to come from me. The next day, I decided to meet up with Zara. She had been the one person who stuck by me through everything. The one person who never tried to fix me or change my decisions. She had just let me be. I found her at a small coffee shop downtown. When she saw me, she gave me a small smile, and I could tell she was relieved to see the change in me. I'm glad to see you looking better, Zara said as we sat down. I nodded, pushing the coffee cup around in circles. Yeah, I feel like I'm finally free of all of it. Emily, the anger, everything. Zara's eyes softened. You've been through a lot, but you've come a long way. I smiled, but there was a quiet sadness in me. It doesn't feel like a victory, though. Not really. It just feels done, like it's over. She leaned back in her chair, her expression thoughtful. Maybe that's what you needed, to know that it's over, so you can start moving forward without her holding you back. I nodded again. I didn't have the words to explain it, but Zara understood. She always did. Did she reach out again? Zara asked, her voice gentle. I hesitated, then pulled my phone from my pocket, showing her the message Emily had sent me. Zara didn't say anything as she read it, but I saw her glance up at me with a knowing look. So, what are you going to do with it? She asked quietly. I thought about it for a moment. I already did. I let her go. I don't need her apology. I don't need anything from her anymore. Zara smiled, her eyes warm. I think you're finally starting to believe that. I didn't say anything. I wasn't sure I had the words, but I felt it deep inside. I had spent so long waiting for closure, waiting for Emily to make things right, but now I realized that the closure wasn't something she could give me. It was something I had to give myself. We sat in silence for a while, sipping our drinks, and for the first time in a long time I felt content. I had moved on, and Emily was no longer the center of my world. I didn't need revenge. I didn't need her apology. I had learned the most important lesson. Forgiveness wasn't about her. It was about me. The world was still the same, but I wasn't, and that was enough. As I left the coffee shop, I didn't feel the anger or bitterness I had carried with me for so long. All I felt was relief. I was done with it, and that somehow felt like justice. It's strange how time can make you forget the weight of certain moments. A week ago, I couldn't stop thinking about Emily, her betrayal, her lies, the way she destroyed everything we had. I kept replaying the scene in my mind over and over again, trying to understand what went wrong. But now, I barely think about her at all. I've realized that everything we went through, it wasn't about her. It was about me. I was the one who needed to change. I was the one who had to stop being consumed by anger, to stop living in the past. And that's exactly what I did. I've spent the last few days thinking about everything, about who I was before Emily, and who I am now. Before all this, I was someone who believed in love, in trust. I didn't doubt people. But after everything with Emily, I didn't know if I could ever believe in that version of myself again. But I've learned something important through all of this. It's not about what Emily did to me. It's about how I choose to move forward. I can let her actions define me, or I can rise above it all and be who I was always meant to be. I'm sitting here in my apartment, staring out at the city. The sun is setting, casting long shadows across the streets. There's a quiet peace in the air, a calm that I haven't felt in months. And it's not because Emily's out of my life. It's because I'm finally out of my own way. I used to think that I needed her to apologize, to fix what she broke. But now I see it. There's nothing to fix. There's only moving forward, only letting go. And that's what I've done. I still remember the pain of betrayal, the sharp sting of those early days. But now, that pain feels distant, like a memory of someone else's life. I'm not that person anymore. For the first time in a long time, I feel like I've got control again. I've learned that I don't need anyone to make me whole. I can do that for myself. And as I look at the world in front of me, I realize that maybe, just maybe, this was the lesson I was supposed to learn. Not to seek revenge, not to wallow in bitterness, but to understand that the greatest power I have is in choosing to let go. I don't know what the future holds, but for the first time, I'm excited to find out.